How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. So we'll get everybody's hands raised in the queue here, and we'll go ahead and get started. So guys, get your hands up, and if you want to ask a question for Coach Link. First one's going to come from Jack Sobel. Jack, go ahead.
Coach, obviously Harrison making that big kick to win the game. What have you liked from him, or what did you like from him on Saturday besides just making the game-winning kick?
He's just, I think I've talked about this before with him, for any specialist, let alone a freshman, he's got a laser focus and he is really legitimately hard to rattle. I laugh because it's just such a unique characteristic to have. I think you just don't see it very much anymore, but he's just kind of got that. That's his personality, and it's not like he's one of those laser focused people that you can't talk to, or you can't, they never like to have a good time or lighten up, but he's just when it comes to kicking and football and the job at hand, that's who he is.
Go ahead, Max Baker.
Yeah, Coach, you sort of just touched on this, but I guess coaching kickers, how much of their mentality and their laser focus comes from you, the special teams coach? Do you ever have to instill that in players, and have you had to do that with Harrison, or is it something he kind of came with?
Well, I'd like to tell you all of it, but the truth is, obviously that to me it's all a form of mental toughness, right? We define mental toughness in this program as performing at your God-given ability, no matter the circumstances. And, really that holds true. And with specialists, so what we try to do, to answer your question, is we do try to put them in as many pressure situations as we can. Team situations, obviously, or kind of count double in evaluation, and the guys know that. So we try to emulate or simulate game-like situations as much as possible. You can never simulate what took place on Saturday, but we do try to put them in some different pressure situations and try to rattle them, try to see how they're going to respond. Obviously, it's no different from a mental approach, right? Like every week we do work with a wet ball, right? Just in case we get inclement weather and all of those things. And, that's just another situation that we try to put them in to help strengthen that mental focus and that mental toughness. And then, we do try to do some different exercises in the off season and even during the season, our meeting on Friday night when I meet with them, there are some visual, we visualize success, and there are some, different things that we do to try to get their mind set in the correct mode.
Peter?
Yeah, I guess with Harrison, what was your last communication with him before he and Grant ran out there ahead of their final kick? What do you say to a guy before that moment? Is it any different than if it's in the middle of a game?
Oh, well, yeah. So the first, I knew they had 2 timeouts. I figured they probably use both. So I didn't say anything to him after the first timeout. And then after the second timeout, he kind of ran back, came back, and I just kind of hit him in his chest and said, "Go win the game." And that's really all I told him. And to be honest with you, in that situation, there's not a lot to say. There's not a lot. I was more focused, honestly, with my communication on protection and just reminders for those guys. And, another guy in that equation was Daniel Hawthorne, our snapper, who's also a true freshman. So two true freshmen in that situation. That's and then Grant McKinnis is like the wily veteran, right? That kind of balances them all out. So, but I was more in that situation where it's a desperation rush by the opponent. My concern was more protection based than anything else. and that's not to say that, that Harrison is perfect and is never going to, obviously he's missed kicks this year, but, my mindset was more focused on the protection than with him.
And what's his kind of personality? Oh, sorry, Sean.
No, go ahead, Peter.
What's kind of his personality like throughout, I guess, practice itself? Because I know you said like he is kind of like laser focused, and we see that in the press conferences and stuff. But like, what's he like in like a normal setting?
I mean, honestly, I would say he's very, very similar to what you see. I mean, obviously, he hasn't had a ton of experience working with media and in those situations, so he's probably not as polished as, maybe a Connor Bazelak or something that's had a little bit more experience now. But I think he likes to have a good time. He's I would say he's one of the guys, right? I mean, just similar to a lot of the other guys. But he is, I would say, in terms of at practice, and I mean, he is very, very focused, very, he doesn't get distracted easily, and I would say sometimes, especially, I have to do this often with younger guys, especially kickers and punters, because their answer to everything, if they're not hitting the ball as clean as they would like, is to just keep kicking. Well, at some point, those guys got to be on a little bit of a pitch count. And so with him, it's no different. Like, I never have to tell him to do more, if that makes sense. I have to, if anything, I have to tell him, hey, we're going to do this, and this today. And then, we're shutting you down.
Go ahead, Suichi.
Hey, Eric, you kind of alluded to with Grant being the kind of the wily veteran, but what's Grant and Harrison's kind of relationship like? I know it's obviously kicker punter, but also kicker holder. Yeah,
I think it's been pretty cool to see it kind of transform throughout the season. Just Grant is a very, like I said, I think I've said this before to you guys, but he's got a great personality. Obviously, he's been in the SEC for multiple years. He's seen a lot of different things, a lot of different situations. So he's, I think Harrison, maybe I thought I heard him say this in one of the press conferences, but something about like, you guys, they asked him the question, like, what does he do before a kick? And he's like, well, I just find Grant, and that's literally, I mean, it's like a boy with his little puppy, man. I mean, from the standpoint of, he just kind of keeps him focused. And I think it's been good for Harrison, because Harrison kind of gravitates, towards that. And it's kind of I don't even know how to explain it, but it's become a really cool relationship. I don't know that they necessarily hang out outside of football or, much or anything like that. But certainly when they're here, I think he's, Harrison looks up to Grant, and just because of that experience, because of all the things that he's seen, and, those guys are constantly sharing ideas and, talking through different scenarios and situations. So I think it's been pretty cool.
Two more. Colin, go ahead.
Hey, Coach Link, I think it's not quite the year anniversary for you, but today was the year anniversary for Coach Drink's hiring here. What's it been like as someone who came over from App State as well to see what this program is like a year later and the things you guys have been able to do on the field and off the field?
I mean, are you sure it hasn't been like 3 years?
Maybe.
Holy cow, man. No, it's been really good. I mean, it really has. It's been really cool to see, right? Because, I mean, we're all, literally everyone in the world is experiencing this situation for the first time, right? So, it's kind of that part has been really cool to see our players respond, to see our coaches respond. There's certainly been adversity. There's certainly been situations where, that are tougher than others. But, I think at the end of the day, Coach Drink has done a really good job kind of establishing, laying the foundation for the culture. And there's still there's a lot of work to be done. And we know that, and our guys know that, but we're also really proud of what we've been able to accomplish. And that's a testament to our players. It really is, and the work ethic that, and just the resiliency, right, that they've kind of went through, and everybody, like I said, across the country is going through it in some fashion, but so it's been good. It's been really good. I mean, our family loves Como, and from a personal standpoint, it's been really good, and but just the same thing I said my first day here, man. Just I'm still grateful to be here, thankful to be here, and we got really, really good kids, good people in our program, and it makes coming to work, a lot of fun, especially in week, what are we, 20?
Yup. Jack Sobel, close us out here.
Coach Link, you mentioned sometimes giving the kicker the wet ball treatment. I'm just looking at the forecast. It looks like there's a decent chance it snows on Saturday. Have you ever been in a snow game situation before, and how do you prepare for that?
Man, I was at Montana State for 2 years. Like, hell yeah, I've been in a snow game. I mean, yeah, I mean, and I'll be honest, it's hard. It's hard to prepare for that. But I can remember we played a playoff game, and I think it was 2012, and it was like this weekend. It was like the second weekend in December. We were playing in Bozeman. It was a Friday night ESPN game, and it was like 8 degrees. 8 degrees was the high. And it was snowing sideways and sleeting, and that was the best time I've ever had in the coach's box. So I was very thankful to be up there. But no, in terms of preparation, you just try, again, you try to simulate it as best you can and really put them in probably a much more unrealistic situation, just to, focus on the details, right? All the little things become that much more important. The things that probably a lot of us take for granted with a snap and a hold and a kick. I don't know if you guys saw any of that game, the App State game last week with Louisiana, but crap, man, that gave me some nightmares. And that wasn't really, I'm not trying to take a shot at that kid. Just it is what it is. You just got to try to prepare the best you can, and then have okay, if things really get bad, what is the next step, right? What is the plan? So it's not only trying to train your guys for those situations as best you can, but it's also from a coaching and strategy standpoint, what are we going to do if it is that way? How do we need to alter our plan if any? Hope that answered your question. But
all right, we'll let Coach go with that one. Thanks, Coach.